chapter 38, and the epilogue I'll do tomorrow. Chapter 38. I don't know why this is happening or what aspect of our plan had to go wrong in order for Manon to do this. She must have realized at some point that the bind was a dud, but what else have the children planned? Was ARRON really a double agent, or is this just a distraction Manon has come up with? I don't know, but I do know that the only way to work with a trickster god is to keep the trick going. Heather peers at me, fascinated by what is supposed to be happening and what isn't happening, because, for one thing, Manon doesn't have any of ARRON's powers, just his image. The noise from upstairs gets louder, deafening, and I realize that fake screams fall heavily under the category of trick. I tried to mimic how Heather responded when ARRON used his gift on her, and riffing with psychological torture. I make my breath short, laboured, wheezing. It comes from deep in my belly, and I sound like I'm choking on it. I sound like a vacuum cleaner. Tuck on a bit of rug. My leg is still bleeding. The shock of it wearing off and now falling into deep, abysmal pain. I channel the pain, screaming it all out. Get behind her, Heather. Manon, as ARRON, snaps. Hold on to her shoulders. Sometimes they have a last burst of energy. Heather Banbury's hands clamp down on me, holding me in place, and make sure she doesn't vomit on the floor. Manon says the emphasis on floor. I don't want a sting down here. Emphasis on down here. I start to jerk uncomfortably and arch my back until I slide onto the carpet floor, my head down. From this angle I can see the drips of the wall, the pool of wetness and gathering by Manon's feet. Well done. Just stand there, restrain her. From my spot on the floor I can see that Manon has taken a clump of hair from Heather's hairbrush and has soaked it in well water. While Heather tries to restrain me, Manon is slipping the clump into ARRON's coat, deftly unscrewing something in the inside pocket. I feel a surge of respect for her tricky genius. She still has the bind. She's trying to modify it. My hands free from the belt. I snatch a length of Heather's hair and yank it down, almost embarrassed by the childishness of the action. It works. Though she's taken off guard, yelps and is on the floor. Maeve! Manon hisses, still in ARRON's form. And there is a heavy sound of metal hitting the floor. I look around and see the silver coins. I take them into my hands and stick them quickly on Heather's skin. One on her arm, one on her base of her neck. Heather shudders, and I use the movement to pin her down, my knees to her shoulders. Manon, can you do this? Is it safe? Manon looks at me, and even though she is still using ARRON's face, she couldn't look more like a scared woman. She holds up the jam jar and holds the bind. On verra bien, she says, and drinks the bind down, swallowing hard the clump of hair sticking like a spider to the glass. Manon steadies herself against the desk. It looks as if though something small and alive, like a parasite, is rattling through her. The colour drains from her face, and her eyes shine pink, as if blood vessels have just burst inside them. She lies there twitching slightly, staring dead ahead. Is she? No, Manon says, sounding queasy. Are you okay? Not really. She clutches her stomach. But I had no choice. What happened? ARRON, Lily and Rue are upstairs. The children have got people up there. They knew we were coming. It took the three of them to even let me slip through down here. And Nuella and Fiona at the court. We need to bring her here. I've been reading nearly half a book today. So bear with me, please. To carry her up the stairs, Manon shrugs. And we do it somehow. I took the shoulders of Manon, takes the legs, even with me still bleeding, even with Manon looking like she swallowed a swamp, and it might come back up at any moment. At the top of the stairs, Rue's there, standing outside of one classroom, his eyes swollen, turning purple. Are you okay? We both asked it at once, and then give each other a small rueful smile. A smile that says, no, but I'm here, aren't I? How many? 4. Lily stunned them, and ARRON did his thing, seeming to almost finish them off. Where are they now? Tied up, locked in here, he says mischievously. He nods to the door handle. I had a word with her. I almost burst out laughing. The door is a girl. The door is a woman, he laughs. Then a worried look crossed his face. Let's move. He takes over from me with Heather, and I limp out to the tennis courts where Fiona and Nuella are at the centre in a cloud of candles. The smell is rancid, hitting our noses. The second we step outside, the melting fat and burning sage chokes my throat. The sharp wind blowing the smoke back towards the school. Lily is standing outside the wire fence, and a bucket at her feet. The fence is dripping with water. I remember the day at the end of the summer when Lily charged the fence, terrifying us all. We had all let ourselves become lazy with our gifts. But she seems to know that something like this was coming. Heather is still in some kind of trance, her skin bleached, white, her eyes pink and staring. We lay her down, and she's like a white rabbit on an operating table. There is a brief second when we realize that we are doing what we look like. ARRON, the real one, appears from the shadows. I feel the bubble of doubt and sense of, are we really doing this? Casting a spell over a woman's unconscious body? Around Nuella and Fiona are crystals acting as paperweights for the cards, arranged in a pentagram shape. Big cards, major arcana mostly, the world, the empress, the judgment. Judgment. How would we be judged for this? How will we judge ourselves? The candles have all melted down. The fatty liquid wax pooling onto the plates. Maeve, Nuella says gently, I need you to lie down by Fiona. if that's all right. I see there is a little tartan blanket spread out next to Fiona. Precisely for this purpose, I lie there looking up at the stars and into Fiona's face. "Hey, dude," she says, then looks to my blood-soaking trousers legs. "Rough night. My leg is effed. I can see that. After this I'll sort you out." Nuella goes to Heather, and we are all in a circle now. Manon puts the sign of the goddess in oil on each of our foreheads, and there is no hailing to the watchtowers this time. Fiona has a sheet from the archives wedged under her knee, and she prepares to read out loud from it. She coughs, clears her throat slightly. "Okay, are we ready, everybody?" We each nodded. "All right," she says, and takes a big breath. Then her voice comes out loud and booming, so full of brass and steel that I almost jumped up. "We come to this well today," she begins, "in the spirit of true heart and true service, in order to restore what is unbalanced and to fix what is broken. We do not wish harm on anyone, and when we act, we do so only in defense. Maeve, do you come here in spirit of true heart and true service?" "I do." "Rue, do you come here in spirit of true heart and true service?" "I do." "Manon, do you?" She goes around to everyone, asking with equal gravity every time, and power gathers around her like storm clouds. Nuella was right to get Fiona to do this. She's not just a great actress, she's a great witch. As if trying to prove my point, a magpie, white feathers tipped with orange, flies down to her side and watches her carefully, its head cocked to one side like a dog. Fiona produces a length of black cotton. Nuella does the same. Fi places it gently over my eyes. She coughs again, consults the piece of paper wedged under her knee. "I ask you to look inward and to channel the greatest part of your power." I hear Nuella say the same thing to Heather as she covers her eyes, and I feel another light drop of oil on my skin. Manon has begun to chant incantations, half in English and half in French, in some kind of conversation with the unconscious form of Heather Bunbury, commanding her to relinquish the stolen magic, telling her that she will be forgiven once the wrong is righted. Fiona represents her command again, and I do as she says, channeling the green light, the overwhelming warmth and honesty of it. I hear Nuella's voice again, reverse the channel. She tells Heather, "Return what you have taken." A surge of feeling comes through me, and it rises in my chest. Like an anxiety attack, I feel my lungs expand, my ribs stretch. I'm getting bigger on the inside, as the power that was stolen from me and from the earth rushes back into my body, and for a few seconds the life of Heather Banbury, or whatever her real name is, collapses into me, and I see a frizzy-haired, skinny little girl who has contracted blood poisoning from untreated head lice. And I see her on a children's hospital ward alone, and I see a series of professionals asking each other why certain people are allowed to have children. And isn't it funny that you need a license for a dog but not for a child? A statement a younger Heather takes to mean you matter less than a dog. And even as the magic flows out of me and into the ground, I realize that everyone who craves power once had none. That maybe Heather actually believes the thing she said about stopping a civil war before it becomes a genocide. And it's gone. The magic passes through me and into the earth below. Are you okay? Fiona whispers, and I realize that I am, hyperventilating. Yes, I manage to say. Is this the part? Yes, she says, softly taking the black cotton away from my eyes. This is the part. It's time to send the magic back through the well, using the knife as the lightning rod. I take up the letter opener and jam it into the ground. I tense my arm, trying to get purchase in the rubber material, feeling like a blade is going to come off and the mother of pearl handle. I start to panic. It's not strong enough. The knife isn't moving. I feel Rue's big hand on mine, stroking my fingers, and then his hand moves to the knife. The blade starts to tingle in my hand, and I can tell that Rue is not just reassuring me, but speaking to the blade itself. He guides my hand. We rip right through the court, sun-staffed grass brushing against my wrist as we do. Fiona's voice gets louder. We have sealed this well. She booms. We have sealed this well to prevent its draining and to protect our lives and the lives of this community. We seal this well. Then everybody starts saying it. Lily, Aaron, Manon, Rue and Uella. You can get up, Maeve, Fiona whispers to me. I get up and we begin to pour the wax into the gasp made in the earth. The wax disappears instantly, not settling for an instant on the grass or the delicate yellow flowers, but seems to be sucked straight into the ground. The wound of it, the ruptured cord, seems to heal itself in front of us. We are doing it. We all think at once. We've done it. That's good, Nuella says shortly. Her voice tense. I think that's good. I think. There's the sound of footsteps, and we look up to see people approaching. 4, 5, 6, all in black, all with their faces covered. They are coming from the alleyway that I once ran down to escape Aaron when he offered the first of my 3 chances. We see them only briefly, lit by the orange glow of the street lamp. Lily, I say, reaching for her hand. We once exploded light bulbs from halfway across the room. Could we do it outside in the middle of the most important spell we ever done? She understands immediately, and together we spark the streetlights, dazzling them with darkness. Then Lily gets to her feet, runs to the fence, and she has already doused. Don't stop, everyone, Nuella says. We need to fully seal it. No chancing. We pour and pour the wax on our magic, the wax becoming our magic, the fence around our hums with electricity. Rue gets up. He goes to Lily, taking her hand, and there's a surge. The hum so loud it becomes a din. Go ahead and try it, he yells. And there's a yelp, a young person's yelp, and the hot, rotten smell of burnt fabric. I winch. Who was that we just electrocuted? Someone our age? Accidentally on the wrong side of this wall of magic, for magic. There is a click sound, and the hum of the fence has stopped. Click, clink, clink. What was that? A wind picks up, and the last of the chicken fat candles blows out. They've put those coins on the fence, ARRON says, his voice streaked with terror. They are coming in, and they do come in. It's a blur of faces and violence, of pushing and grabbing, and I feel a hand around my mouth. Then my neck, my head is in an arm lock, and I'm being dragged out of the court. My eyes dart around, trying to mark everyone's location in the near blackness. Fiona, I scream. I see her arms being pulled around her back. I catched a flash of the face. It's a boy, the boy who was on the bus with me and Lily Frog Eyes. Wow, this is really a long chapter, and it is 21 minutes, so I'm going to do a second part to it. Okay, take care. Part 2, chapter 38. There is a flash, then a fire. Lily lights up. The hot liquid fat goes up in flames, and the tarot cards become kindling. Everyone is blown back, and I look around, not seeing Rue, ARRON or Manon. Nuella is struggling with someone, and on the ground. The body of Heather Banbury is beginning to revive itself. She blinks, and someone is black, pulls her up, tries to get her to walk. She looks pitifully weak, staggering, not seeming to know where she is. The fire crackles and spreads, roaring so hard that I wonder if the well is doing its bit to protect itself. This fire can't just be from candle grease. This is something screaming and defensive, something that has been waiting to fight back. A branch from a tree snaps off and falls to the ground, then another and then another. Whoever is holding on to me suddenly lets go as ARRON's shoulders them into the still hot fence. There's another yelp and a smell of clothes burning. Another branch falls into the flames. What is happening what is happening? No one seems to understand what is going on. Not our side and not theirs. It's just chaos and struggle. The fire looping around us. The wind tickling the flames into a bigger laugh. There is a sudden gust that carries the fire to the border shrub next to the school, and within moments the school catches fire. I look up, and suddenly the question of the branches becomes clear. A sky of orange-tipped magpies are dropping them into the flames. The birds circle Fiona, protective, as pack lions, beating their wings heavily against Frog Eyes. I don't understand anything. I'm looking at it. It's all too strange, too inexplicable. Are they biting him? No, not biting, pecking. The smoke becomes thick for fighting. What was a battle is now a wreckage, and it's all anyone can do to get out alive. Eyes are lit up by the orange flames, and I suddenly see everyone in the tent tennis court for who they truly are. Just another young person fighting for something they believe to be the morally correct thing to do. We need to get out, I scream. Useless. This isn't the children. This isn't the children have begun to flee down the alleyway they came from. Rue, his face streaked with blood, grabs hold of me and drags me to the exit. You never think of a tennis court, a nicer outdoor one, surrounded by pretty shrubs and leafy trees, as a fire hazard, but in this moment I'm appalled that they are even allowed to exist. This beautiful, luxurious thing that is now just a fire cage, all wire and kindling and burning, melting rubber, and now only one exit. The exit is through the school, the alleyway already cut off by flames. The rubbish tip, still not collected by the council, has caught fire. We all manage to run out of the court, through the fire, or around it, holding our jumpers up to our mouths. I do a checklist, counting each of my people, each of my team, Rue, Fiona, Aaron, Manon, Noella, Lily. As we run through the long hallway of the school, it's obvious that some of the back classrooms have started to smoulder. Lil, Maeve, Rue says sharply, "Run ahead, get out of here." And when we get outside, there are Fiona, Noella, Manon. Fiona is crouching over someone. My first assumption is that it is Heather Banbury. I didn't notice her leave the tennis court before it became too awash with smoke and fire to see clearly, but it seems as if she must have staggered out. The closer I get, the faster I realize that I'm wrong. I close my eyes, feel for the lights of every creature present, and realize two things. One, that the body on the street belongs to Sister Assumptia, and two, that Heather Banbury did not get out alive. In that second, I can't focus on anything. I can't think. I can't engage with the fact that Heather, a woman who up until 2 weeks ago I had trusted enough, walked barefoot through her house, is now dead. That she is now dead because of me. That Sister Assumptia is also dead, and probably because of me. That we hurt people tonight, that we caused this, all of these facts bounce off me. All I can concentrate on is the radar of lights in my brain, and the fact that Heather Banbury is no longer on it. But someone new is. Something royal blue enters my field of energy, and I'm aware that I'm being watched. I look up, see a well-dressed woman across the street, staring at us with great interest. She wears a hat and is utterly unaffected by the smoke billowing out of the school. She stands in front of a long black car, her driver visible within. ARRON is standing next to me and breathing heavily. "Is that who I think it is?" I say to him, pointing to her, knowing she would think it was rude to point. "Yup," he says. His voice is flat. "That's Dorey." Wow, and that was the end of the book. I will read the epilogue separately. So I'll see you in the next chapter. Thank you.